This video is to show you how to export your grades to get them ready for a mail merge. So I'm going to go up here in my class to the Grades tab. Then it's under Enter Grades, and then Export. This export screen gives you a lot of different options up here. You don't need to worry about most of them. Here is the points grade and the grade scheme. This is the number of points they received and then the letter grade. So depending on whether you want to include both of those things or either of those things, you can uncheck the appropriate ones. I highly recommend you keep last name, first name, and email if you're going to do a mail merge, because those will all be typically necessary, or at least some of them will be necessary. And then section membership and group membership only if you need them. The first thing I do when I'm choosing which grades to export is I click this top box that says Select All Rows. I click that twice. That's because there can be certain boxes already clicked, already checked, and so I just do that to clear them all out once. And for this demo, I'm actually just going to show you the full calculated grade. So you may want to export other grades than that, but I'm just going to do the full calculated grade for now. When you export grades, I always recommend doing export to Excel rather than CSV. When you do CSV, it appends additional characters that you then have to take out again. It's just a pain, so I always recommend doing export to Excel. So click that. It'll take a few seconds, then we can click download. And we'll open that up in Excel. So if we expand these columns now, you can see we have the org defined ID, username, last name, first name, email. These are all the things I selected to export. And over here we'd have all the grades we said to export. So we have the numerator for our calculated grade, the denominator, and the grade letter. As you may have noticed in K-12 Stride, they don't ever calculate the percentage for you. So if you want to calculate a percentage, you're going to have to do that here yourself. And that's what we'll be doing for most of this video, is figuring out how to calculate a percent and then display it appropriately for a mail merge. So the first thing I'm going to do to calculate that percent is I'm going to right-click on this H column, because I want a column in between here where I get my percentage. I'm going to right-click and do Insert. And I'm going to call this my final grade percent. To calculate a percent, we take the numerator divided by the denominator, and then we'll move it to decimal places, but Excel has a way to do that automatically. So the first thing I do is I type equal sign. That tells Excel that I'm going to calculate something rather than type something in this cell. So I want to calculate this numerator divided by this denominator. So I'm just going to click the numerator cell, type slash to indicate divide, and then click denominator to indicate the denominator cell. And I press enter. And that'll give me a number. Now, Excel has a way to format numbers as percentages with this little percent style up here, so you can click that. However, when you go to do a mail merge in Word, Word actually doesn't see the formatting that we've done in Excel. So this displays as a percentage in Excel, but Word will still see it as that long decimal point number. So I'm just going to switch this back really quick, back to what it was before, this long decimal number, and we're going to format it in a way that Word can see. So we know exactly what format we're going to be sending out to our kids. So the first thing I need to determine is how many decimal points do I want to display in my percentage? Do I want the percentage plus 1, percentage plus 2 decimal points? How many do I want? So I'm just going to do plus 1. Like this one should be a 78.6 is what I want. So you can see I'd be rounding that to 3 decimal places. So we're going to use a formula called round. I'm going to come up to this area, which is where my formula is typed. I'm going to click right after the equal sign, and I'm going to type the word round, because I'm going to round this number. When I do a formula, I have to start it with open parenthesis after the word, so round open parenthesis, And then you can see it prompts me for what I need to pass in. I have a number and then number of digits I'm rounding to. So that's my number. It's already in there. I can just click at the end of that, type a comma, and the number of digits I wanted to round to was 3. I'm going to do close parenthesis now, and that should round it to 3 decimal places, 0.786. Now in order to get this in percentage format, I need to multiply by 100. That's how we do percentages. So I'm going to click back in this formula, do asterisk for multiply, that's shift 8, and then 100. Multiply by 100 to get the percentage. So there's my percentage, 78.6. And just because I also like to show this as a percent symbol at the end, I'm going to add a percent symbol. The way I do that is, again, click in the formula up here. I'm going to type ampersand, which is shift 7, then double quotes, percentage sign, shift 5, and then double quotes. You can see that shows 78.6% now. Let's look at that formula really quick. Ampersand is a formula that is essentially called concatenate. It puts 2 words together, or 2 strings together. And then double quotes indicates another string. That's just characters that we put together. So we have the percentage that we calculated. We concatenate that with the percentage symbol. And overall, we get the full percent. I'm going to shorten this column a little bit just so we can work with it a little better. So now that I have that, I'm going to copy it into all the other rows. There are a couple ways you can do this. You can grab the corner, click, and drag it down. And you can see that will populate it all. Or the way I like to do it is I select the top row, Control C to copy, scroll all the way down to the bottom, Shift left click, that'll select all the cells in between, and then Control V, like Victor, to paste. And then they all get pasted in. Now these are formatted percentages that will work in Word Mail Merge. The other thing I would recommend doing now that you have these numbers is to select all of them. So you can just click on that H column, copy them again with Control C, and we'll do a paste values. So I can just come up here to this paste in your home tile, do paste values in this first one, paste values. The reason I would recommend doing that is that Word or any other program doesn't necessarily see Excel formulas. Excel formulas are specific to Excel and they will evaluate inside Excel, but you don't really know how they're going to evaluate. It might just see the formula in Word or in other programs. So now, instead of this being a formula up here, this is just that number, 78.6%. Like you can see, I could come in here and type in it, and I could type other letters, and it would just bring that up as a string now. It's no longer a formula, it's just the exact percent that I want to send them. Now, one last recommendation I have for mail merge, and this one is not necessary, it's totally optional, but I would recommend it, is these column headers tend to be really long, the ones that Stride exports from the gradebook. I would recommend any of the ones you're going to use, come in and make them a little bit shorter. You can name them whatever you want, but that'll make them a little bit easier to deal with, first of all, inside Excel. But it will also help with your formatting inside Mail Merge. So once you have that done, you can save this, and then it will be all ready to use for your Mail Merge.